movies and money today, we are about to find out if Toy Story has a case of franchise fatigue. Joining us now, a man who never tires of talking movies, Erik Childress. Hello.
Hi, Angie.
Toy Story 4 had the best opening ever for the Pixar series over the weekend at $118 million, but why are some calling it a disappointment?
Well, Angie, this is what is becoming a too classic case of conflating stories to offer reasoning behind why expectations fell short. And that is the key word here, expectations. Like many have been reporting for weeks, including right here, Toy Story 4's ticket sales were red hot in the first 24 hours from weeks ago. Based on those numbers, there were some expectations that it was going to challenge last year's Incredible 2's record for the highest opening ever for an animated film, possibly even over $200 million. Tracking services were continuing that line of projections upward of at least $150 million, and as we have reported here, time and time again, their models have been way off time and time again, and I think it's time studios and reporters stop relying on them as arbiters of the movie-going public's hunger for certain movies based on social media chatter. So again, when those expectations, or should we call them predictions, come up short, it can't be their fault. There must be something wrong elsewhere. Which is really ludicrous when you consider, as you stated, that a $120 million opening is higher than the $110 million opening of Toy Story 3 back in 2010. A $400 million domestic total is still very much in the cards for a wonderful film that is really deserving of repeat viewings.
Here's a look at another sequel coming out this week, Annabelle Comes Home.
What about the doll that's in there? Annabelle, she's in a case for a reason.
There are actually now more Annabelle films, though this one does bring in the paranormal investigators played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, and particularly their locked-off room with all the nasty artifacts that have caused spiritual headaches for other families. The Conjuring universe, as it's known, has grossed over $1.38 billion with 5 films. The Annabelle films have accounted for over $561 million of that, and I think you will see this turn another healthy profit on a small budget, particularly because the consensus is that this creepy doll series is actually getting better as it goes along.
There's also a film that wonders what might happen if the Beatles never existed. Take a look at Yesterday.
Oh, I believe in yesterday.
When did you write that?
I didn't write it. Paul McCartney wrote it. The Beatles.
Who?
As for Danny Boyle's Yesterday, it has a really high concept premise about what might happen if everyone woke up one day and only one man remembered the songs of the Beatles. Richard Curtis, who wrote Four Weddings and a Funeral and Love Actually, penned the premise, which ultimately comes out as more cute than provocative. The film seems to lose its way halfway through in no favor of a less interesting romance angle, and I think even a casual Beatles fan will come up with more legitimate questions about this premise than the filmmakers actually do.
Well, studios, of course, are hoping for big bucks at the box office over July 4th as Spider-Man Far From Home creeps onto the big screen.
You gonna be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your jobs.
What?
I'm kidding. Look, keep up the good work. Because I am going on vacation.
That's right, Angie. Certainly over the July 4th holiday, audiences will be flocking to Spider-Man Far From Home, which I believe is going to get the same kind of bump that Iron Man 3 got years ago, being the first film out of the gate after the first Avengers film. Now, this being the first after the finality of Endgame, I think could get the film over $400 million domestic and maybe even $1 billion worldwide.
Erik, you also say there's a horror film being released during the holiday week.
Midsommar is definitely one that is going to challenge audiences with its themes of depression and grief, as well as give the cult of the Wicker Man a run for its money. Florence Pugh, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite actresses working today, is outstanding as a young woman dealing with a horrific personal tragedy, along with a boyfriend who is hardly the most supportive shoulder when they travel to Sweden to stay with a commune that one of their friends grew up in. It is one intense ride for 2.25 hours with a lot to think about afterwards, and it certainly announces Ari Aster alongside Jordan Peele as two of the most unique and important voices in the horror genre today.
Plenty to look forward to. Thank you so much, Erik, and happy 4th to you.
Thank you, Angie.
For more Business First AM, check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.